Thanks for clicking on the link. This is an informational video about AP World History. I'm going to be giving you some information and answer some questions about the course, so hopefully you can make a decision about if this is the right course for your sophomore year. So what will we be studying in AP World History? We will study approximately 10,000 years of human civilization. We will cover a lot of ground, both in terms of land, space, and time, but we will not ask you to know everything that has ever happened in the last 10,000 years. Clearly, that is an impossible task. It is possible, however, to learn the broad story of world history by using some tools to help connect the parts of the story from beginning to present. And we will use the College Board's scope and sequence and curriculum as expressed in their course exam description to help us do that. And once you know the plot, if you will, of the story of world history, you're in a good position then to learn the subplots that in turn help make sense of all the facts that support the overall story. And this kind of learning with thought enables you to have a lifelong expansion of knowledge that gives history meaning and enriches the present, shapes the future. And it's a very exciting course to us. To a historian, history is not just a collection of dates and facts, but it is an exciting, fascinating story to be interpreted and analyzed. So as it says, we will divide our study of world history into 6 manageable units from around 8000 BC to the present. The first 6 weeks we will spend looking at the beginning of civilization and what preceded that with the agricultural revolution. We will look at the major states and the major kingdoms that emerged after civilization arose, like Egypt and Mesopotamia. The latter half of the first 6 weeks, we will move our study of world history into the classical era, and we will encounter the civilizations of ancient Greece, ancient Rome, Han China. The second 6 weeks will take us into an exploration and discovery of the post-classical era, also known to history as the medieval period, where we will look at of course, Western medieval Europe and how the collapse of the Roman Empire impacted Europe. But we will also look at other areas of the world like Africa, like the Middle East, like China, that were experiencing golden ages and thriving during a so-called Dark Age period for Europe. We'll also study the Mongols. We'll look at the expansion of trade overland and by sea. We'll study the bubonic plague, the Black Death, and that will lead us up to the third 6 weeks, in which we will get into a study of the connection of the two hemispheres, East and West, Afro-Eurasia, and the Americas for the first time in the age of European exploration and the Columbian exchange, and how the old world and the new world impacted each other. Then after the holiday break, after winter break, we will return to a study of history in the modern era. Our fourth 6 weeks will take us into the period 1750 to 1900, and it will look at an age of revolutions during this period, both political and economic. The Industrial Revolution, of course, but also study the French, the American, the Latin American revolutions, and we'll conclude with a look at a new era of colonization, a new form of imperialism that happened in the 19th century in different places of the world like Africa and Southeast Asia and East Asia. Our final unit of the year, period 6, will ask students to study and learn about the 20th century, which was an age of global conflict, beginning with World War I. We'll look at the impact, the causes, the effects of the Great War, the interwar period, the rise of fascist states. We'll look at the beginnings and the causes of World War II and their effects, also the Cold War, and that will take us up to the latter 20th century when we'll look at post-war realignments and globalization and a new modern world. So students generally want to know how they will be graded in this class. So this is generally how students in AP World History will be graded. First and foremost, you will be reading for this class. You will have a textbook with 24 chapters. We will read most of it, but there's not really much homework besides the reading. We will take occasional reading quiz grades or reading quizzes that are daily grades. You can expect anywhere from 4 or 5 each 6 weeks. The good news is that all of these reading quizzes are open notes, and if you make at least 80% of the questions, if you earn at least 80% on the quiz, we'll put a 100 in the grade book for you. Also, if you make at least 70% on a quiz, we'll put an 85 in the grade book for you. So they're very, we just want to make sure that students are keeping up with the reading. They're very forgiving quizzes, but we do expect students to read, because literally there is no way we could lecture on 10,000 years of world history in 77 class periods. Another type of grade that you will see every 6 weeks is a test. You will have a 55-question multiple choice test, but only once per 6 weeks at the end of a unit. There are retest opportunities. We will also review prior to the test. And there is a test review as well, but it is not required to complete unless you haven't been keeping up with your reading during the 6 weeks. This is also a writing class. You will have to write for the AP World History exam. Thus, you will be writing in this class as well. You'll have approximately 1 to 2 essays each 6 weeks. These are not take-home essays. These are essays that we will do in class, and they will all be timed, and hopefully you will be prepared for those. We do expect students, when they're reading, to take some kind of reading notes. The benefit of that is that you can review the history, you can review the information before a test, before an essay, without having to go back and reread the chapters. The other benefit is that we let you use your notes on the reading quizzes, as we said. And then we'll do some various other assignments, group projects, writing practices. We'll have some discussion grades and presentations throughout the year. Will you have to complete flashcards for this course? The answer is no. So what is the class like overall? Well, it is a college level course, and it is treated as such in multiple respects. You will also, as I said, have to read college level text. So if you're reading at or below grade level, you may have to spend a little bit more time than somebody that is reading above grade level. We will not give more than about 10 pages of reading homework to be completed over a 2-day period. So about 5 pages a night or 10 pages every other night. So you need to ask yourself, well, how long does it take for me to read 10 pages and do some reading notes? That's about how much homework you're looking at. And one of the main questions that students have when they're deciding whether or not to take AP World History. You have to consider also, are you involved in a lot of extracurriculars? Are you, in band? Are you volunteering? Are you a sports athlete? These kinds of things take away time outside of school, but you also have to understand that this is a requirement for the course. At the end of the course, you will absolutely have the opportunity to take an AP exam and hopefully earn some college credit. So that will save you some time and hopefully money later on in your undergraduate career when you're after you're graduating high school. Most colleges and universities accept a score of 3 or higher on the AP World exam for college credit. It is now state law, by the way, in Texas, that if you go to a state school like UT or Texas A&M or Texas Tech, that the college has to give you credit. So if you make a 3 or higher. And that can potentially save you a lot of money down the road. If you look at tuition requirements, they're very expensive in the state and across the country, especially for private schools. And so you can save literally thousands of dollars for just one AP course. Many of our AP World History students will be taking multiple AP exams throughout their high school career, so this can really add up over time. Even if you don't pass the AP exam, there is still a great benefit for signing up and taking an AP World History course. Your high school transcript is arguably the most important document in your application for college admission. College admission counselors say that is the number one factor that they look at when determining whether or not to accept you to their college or university. What kind of classes did you take while you were in high school? Did you challenge yourself? Or did you take an easy path and take less rigorous courses? That's more important than how you do on the SAT, according to this survey, what your GPA is or your class rank. So it's very important for post-secondary consideration. Finally, the last benefit for taking AP World History is that not only will it help you get into the college of your choice, it'll help you stay there and succeed there. There was and still is a significant gap between students who want to go to college and students with adequate high school preparation to succeed at college. According to a recent research study completed in 2009, 26% of incoming freshmen to four-year colleges or universities drop out their first year, and 40%, almost half, fail at least one course their first year. And the reason for that is that students who took less rigorous courses, who did not challenge themselves throughout high school, are not prepared to be successful in the post-secondary environment. So by challenging yourself this year, you're on the path to success for post-high school academic studies. So we hope that you, hopefully this video's answered some questions. If you have any other questions, please visit your AP World History teachers on your campus and also your counseling department. Thanks so much.